everyone, this is Jenny Luscombe. This is Feeling is Healing, and we're going to have an energy pharmacy today. So I've done this before, and this is sort of inspired by a book that I have, and it's The Poetry Pharmacy, and I can't remember who wrote it. But it was written by, I don't know, somebody incredibly eloquent. I will find out and I'll post it later, who prescribed poetry, which I thought was a fantastic idea. But yeah, I just recently went to Birmingham and I was talking to a small audience there and about emotion and all sorts of different things, self-healing. And at the end, when I was doing question and answer, it was really noticeable that everybody who asked a question wanted me to give them a perspective on some symptoms that they were having. Every single person for about an hour. So I found that very interesting, that's what people wanted from me. So yeah, I've got a few people here listening today. So I'm going to start with a couple of examples so you can kind of see where I'm coming from. So anyone who listens to the show regularly knows that I work with the body in a metaphorical way. I like the teachings of Louise Hay, where it was her life's work to she noticed that clients' thought patterns, when she had lots of clients, she noticed that clients with certain medical conditions had thought patterns in common, and she started to make connections. And then she realized that people stuck in a loop with specific thought patterns ended up manifesting certain symptoms. And I know from experience that all physical issues in the body, as soon as something is manifesting physically in the body, it's a chronic thought pattern that has physicalized in your body. You're not going to hear that from your doctor, although I do have a guy who comes and has sessions with me, and he's a GP, and he reports to me that there are quite a lot of doctors starting to think out of the box, which is good news. But generally, a doctor is going to isolate your symptoms, so they will just look at your leg and not look at your life at the same time. So I work holistically. So I wanted to share a couple of amazing stories from when I went down to Birmingham, and so you can see where I'm coming from. So when I offered myself to answer questions with this audience, there was a man and his wife, and he was quite elderly, and he had two new symptoms. So I think he was in his 90s, and over the past few weeks, I think up to a month, he'd started to experience right leg pain and a lot of breathlessness in his lungs. And they were a bit worried about that because it was something new. So what I did was I listened to him talk for a little bit. He didn't seem to have any idea why it had started. But I shared with him that one of the modalities that I use is the body code and the emotion code. And I said, on the chart, which anybody can look up online, there are basically the emotion chart has got 2 columns and 6 rows, and each row has parts of the body written next to it that those emotions are generally connected to. So for example, for him, I was thinking about his lungs, and I thought about where the lungs sit in the emotion code chart, and the emotions connected to anything to do with the lungs are often around rejection. So in any row on the emotion code chart, there are 10 emotions. So it's actually one emotional experience, but there are 10 emotions feeding into that experience. So the 10 emotions on that line are connected to the type of emotions you would feel if you had a situation where you were rejecting yourself or someone had rejected you. So I reeled off these emotions to this guy and his wife. I said, okay, so the emotion that you might have stuck is the emotion of crying. So that's kind of the vibe that you get in your body when you need to cry, but you don't. For some reason, you push it down, like you're not safe to cry or somebody disapproves of that, so you're not going to do that. So when you push those tears down, that's on row 3, and that's often connected to the lungs. And then there's also discouragement and rejection and sadness and sorrow. And then on the other side of the chart, on that line, there's confusion, defensiveness, grief, stubbornness, and self-abuse. So they listened to me talk about these emotions in relation to the lungs, and I said, why don't you have a think about those specific emotions? And then they got that up on their phone and had a look at that. And I said, I'll talk to you about that later, and if you're interested, I'll help you release that. So anyway, some time went by, and then I answered some questions with some other people, and then they came up to me at the end, and he said, I've remembered something. So triggered by our conversation about those specific emotions, he said, I wonder if it's connected to this. So I'd also said to them, because his leg issue had started to happen round about the same time as the lungs, I said, it's likely that those two symptoms are trying to tell you something, but they're trying to tell you something about the same thing because they've both happened at the same time. So I said, your right side of your body is the masculine side. So I said, this is probably something to do with your masculine energy or a masculine energy of a person around you. So, he came up to me and he said, I've remembered something. He lost his brother, I think, when they were younger, and it was a twin brother. And he started to tell me the story of what had happened, and it was all kind of jumbled up and confused, and I couldn't quite work it out, what he was saying and what happened. But I didn't need to, because I suddenly realised he blamed himself. And I said to him, did you blame yourself for what happened? And he instantly started crying, and so did his wife. And she said, he's been blaming himself for this all his life. And I thought, wow, right. So this has been going on for a long time. He's been thinking about his brother a lot. Maybe now is the time that he's actually ready to address what's been going on for him. So I muscle tested for him, and I identified all the emotion. So it wasn't just row 3. It was also row 4, 5, and 6, which is lots and lots and lots of emotion, like a big ball of energy, all woven up and kind of entangled, connected with anger, blaming, and shaming, like loads of emotion around anger, blaming, and shaming. And I thought, wow, well, that makes sense. So if you lost your brother and you felt like it was something to do with you, obviously you're going to have all of this emotion trapped, and that's manifesting in your right leg because your body's trying to tell you it's something to do with a masculine energy. And then the lungs, the breathlessness was showing him he needed to release this energy because it was restricting his life force, literally. So as soon as he started to, kind of with the help of his wife, address the fact that he had been blaming himself all his life, he realized straight away that that's what had been happening. And I said to him, do you feel like you're ready to release this? And he said yes. So I helped him release that with magnetic energy. And later on, actually, about half an hour after this, he looked completely different. Like, he looked different. And they were so grateful. And I asked them to email me and kind of let me know what came of that and whether the symptoms shifted, because I said, if he's been blaming himself all his life, he might have quite a few layers of that. But I've not heard from them. So no news is good news. So I'm hoping that that worked for them. But they were absolutely gobsmacked that it had been that easy to kind of nail down and identify what his body was saying, just like that, kind of like over 5-10 minutes. So there are ways of translating the energy in your body and immediately getting to the bottom of what your body is trying to say. And your body is always trying to heal you. And often when we have physical problems, it kind of feels like our body is actually against us, but that's only because we've been programmed to believe the opposite of what's actually real. So that was absolutely miraculous and beautiful. And then there was another lady in the same crowd, and she had a stick with her. She had walking difficulties and had done for quite a while. And I asked her when that first started. And she said it definitely started 4 years ago when she lost her husband. And so we had a conversation about grief, about the grief process, about things that she could do to address that. And I said, obviously, with that being in your legs, anything connected with the legs or the feet is usually a message from your body that you could be moving forward in a different way, that you're struggling to move forward, and that there's something unresolved that you need to face up to that would enable you to move forward, and then you could let go of that symptom. Once your body had felt you resolve that emotional stuckness, it would release that symptom. So we started to talk about that. We talked about ways that she could release her grief by finding a willing witness to talk with. I sort of felt like it was a bit unfinished. And then at the end, some other people that were connected to her, that knew her and knew her background and knew what she was going through, revealed to me that she had the unresolved nature of her situation with her husband had been that there was a lot going on with his care. So when he was being cared for, when he was dying, there were things that she had a problem with. She was kind of fighting the system, and she was a truther, and she was trying to get his care. She was trying to help his situation, and there was a lot going on there that she disagreed with, and she was treated very badly, as he was as well, and she felt like their negligence had fed into his death. So obviously that was still going on. She was still fighting that battle, and that's why her legs were still showing this symptom. So that was interesting. So this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. And the last show I did, I was expressing concern about what I'm seeing in the world in regards emotional and mental health and physical health, that people, even therapists, sometimes seem to be steering people away from themselves, when it is the very thing that they need is to actually connect with themselves. And I think as well, in the family unit, often we have a conflict within the family, and then we outsource our healing to some professional, in inverted commas, external to us, who doesn't know these other people, and they don't know the nuances of the situation. And often, particularly with mainstream therapy, they don't always understand emotion, sadly. And even psychiatrists, obviously they're medicating emotion, which is bonkers. So I think sometimes people are outsourcing their health and their emotional situations, their conflicts, to an external professional who they think has all the answers, the magical answers, when actually the magical answers come when you face up to the situation within your family group, and maybe you get some advice about alternative ways of looking at what you're in. So I want to help to facilitate that process, because I don't think that the universe ever gives us more than we can handle. And I think that we're often given conundrums and conflicts that we have the capacity to heal, as long as we trust ourselves. And if we really love the people around us, then we can see into them. So we can create intimacy with them in order to land on both sides, so that it isn't a one-sided kind of like exercise in judgment and deflection. Once you can see that you're in judgment and deflection and that there's no movement there, you know you have to do something differently. And there's just a couple of things that you need to tweak in order to be able to manage that yourself. Because I do worry a lot that the mainstream are taking people away from themselves, and they're shaming people for emotion instead of leading people into valuing the emotion. So we need to see our emotions as if they are frightened children. We wouldn't push away and shame a frightened child. We would bring it towards us and we would listen. And that's what we need to do with all of our emotions, however intense they are. And that includes really difficult things like shame and anger and rejection. We need to bring them close, because that's how we're going to receive the information that we need in order to heal. So sometimes it really helps within a community or within a family group to just change the culture and just begin to share situations, get other people's perspectives. And you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to take everything that I say as true. Take it or leave it. For example, like another thing that I would like to share, somebody that I know is in a relationship with quite a well-known person. And this well-known person is in the public eye in his field. And this is a new relationship for her. And she's shared with me like what that's like basically dating a public figure. And one thing that she shared with me is that he has a friend or an acquaintance who she can see through. So this friend of mine is quite a psychic lady. She can see that this person is a liar and a compulsive liar. And she knows this because she's had this pattern in her life where she's attracted people like that. But her partner can't see this situation. So this person who is the liar is actually sending her messages and threatening her. It's kind of unbelievable, because this person is feeling threatened by her getting close to this public figure person, right? And she said to me, what do I do? Because like each time I mention it to my partner, he listens, but he doesn't see it. He doesn't see it. He can't see it like she can see it. So he doesn't see the danger inherent in that situation, whereas she does. So she asked me what I thought about it. And I said, well, I don't know. That sounds difficult. But I think whatever the people around you are thinking or feeling, like all you've really got is your own intuition. So her intuition is like waving all these flags at her. She's seeing that this person is dangerous. So I've said all you can do, even if your partner doesn't see it, all you can do is act on your intuition. So if there is ever a time where this guy that you don't trust is around, keep away from him, or maybe avoid being around him if you can. Express that you don't want to be near him to your partner. Stick to your guns, like keep saying it, the thing that you're seeing that he's not seeing. That's literally, I think, all she can do. It's like it's so difficult at the moment because everyone's energy is really changing, and people see that they're in some sort of ascension process, and that often leaves some people who are growing, and they're connected to other people who have chosen not to grow without any judgment. It sometimes does create kind of like this gulf in between you, and I call it the parallel universe syndrome. Because I spent my entire childhood in a parallel universe from the rest of my family, and many people on this path have experienced that, like being the different one. All you can ever do is trust yourself. you can listen to other people, you can value other people's perspectives, but your intuition is relevant for you and no one else. So I don't know actually how that's gone. I'll have to get in touch with her and figure that out. But if anybody who's listening on the live, if you have any symptoms or triggers or conflicts or loops or conundrums or anything that you would like to share and get an alternative perspective on that, then you're very welcome.
Okay. It looks like no one. Oh, Mike's going to jump in. Go on, Mike. No, he's gone all quiet.
I can't hear Mike. I don't know if he's talking or not.
No, his mic's not going green, so it's not picking any audio. About the Jedi Mazda said hi on the little messaging.
Oh, hi, Jedi Mazda. But that's okay. You don't have to share your symptoms. I was saying to Andy before, I'm going to try to, because I'm doing the show at different times, I'm going to try to pick times where I think I'll reach the most people. So we can do, if I do this regularly, then
right. Jen.
Yeah.
It's Jane that's using the Jedi Mazda profile. I think that's her husband's, and she's got a question for you.
Oh, right. Okay.
She's been communicating via the text messaging feature, so I'm not sure whether she'll unmute and ask audibly or whether she's. Here we go.
Can you hear?
I can. Hello.
Hello, beautiful. Are you all right, sweetie?
Yeah. How are you?
Jane Angel here. Are you all right, lovely?
Yeah. Brilliant. It's brilliant to have you on here. Yeah. Do you want to ask a question?
Yes, I wouldn't mind, please. We're both here listening to your beautiful show. Thank you, Andy, all that you do. We are. Oh, bless you. We are experiencing a looping, but I'll speak from my point of view because it's me having the experience. So he had a recent trauma in April, and ever since that trauma, I've been one person in this life that has never really had fear. And with this trauma, it's made me question, have I suppressed the fear? Because I'm not only fearful, I've got anxiety, and I've wrote something else down. Hold on. Oh, I'm not feeling safe within the home in which I live. So, yeah, there you are, lovely.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what I would normally say to a client is, how do you know that you've got that fear now? Like because it's so different for each person. How are you experiencing that? Is it more mental kind of thoughts and beliefs, or is it more of a physical experience?
Oh, it's both actually, because I am listening out for noises. I am checking the window quite often. Yeah, other than that, I can overcome that mind and go, I actually belong to a beautiful community, but then there's part of me that thinks, hold on a minute, you're just kidding yourself. So there's that going on as well.
Yeah, like when people say there's a part of me doing this and then there's another part of me doing that is it suggests that you've got a fragmentation, which is kind of quite normal on this planet, to be honest, at this time. So if there's a part of you going one way and there's another part of you going another way, like what I would suggest to do, like, have you heard of parts work? I've banged on about it quite a bit on my show. Yeah, there's a process called parts work. So I would look it up and see what you can find
Okay.
out about it.
Okay.
On my YouTube channel, I've done parts work with a few people on there, where I'm using tapping with parts work. But it's actually right. This is so interesting because some conditions that people get into when they've got parts of them experiencing different things that are kind of sometimes opposing. So, like,
Yeah.
you've got a part of you that wants to feel safe and thinks it's ridiculous that you feel unsafe, but you've got another part of you that's like, shit, I'm not safe. I'm just not safe, and I'm checking the window every 5 minutes,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
When there's an opposition within your field, what you need to do is allow both of those aspects of you to speak or to express. So what I would suggest is you can either you can do it through journaling or you could do it through speaking. Um, I normally do it where I'm writing the notes as somebody else expresses it verbally. So I'm writing down what they're saying, and then we use what they're saying to tap to kind of go over that again and for them to feel that part of their consciousness. So you sort of end up on a pendulum swing because both parts are valid. So this happens when a part of you from a different aspect of your life, maybe from when you were younger, a belief system was set up and it caused you to suppress something. So you probably do have a suppression there, but suppressions are always temporary, but we can make them permanent by not dropping them. Do you see what I mean? So the way that you could address it is to just get a piece of paper and divide it in half, and then give each part of of that consciousness a name. So one part might be I'm scared, the other part might be I'm not scared.
Yeah.
And then because like this is like if you imagine when someone has an addiction, I want to smoke, I don't want to smoke. So both of those parts of them are valid. So sometimes they smoke, sometimes they're disgusted by the smoking, and then they go the opposite way, right?
Yeah.
So in order to stop swinging from this one back to that one, to this one to that one, you need to work to align those parts of consciousness. So the trick is to go to them one at a time. So imagine one of them has to kind of go to the side, not say anything, not join in, right? But then the first one that you want to hear, just go to that part of your consciousness. Imagine stepping into the shoes of, for example, this scared one. Step into her shoes. Don't try and fix her. Don't try and change her. She's got every right to feel that way. She's got good reason to be scared, right? And then just speak all of that fear. Speak the fear. You can record yourself doing it, journal it. You can use tapping with it, but just talk about that side of your consciousness. Let her just be the way she is. I'm absolutely terrified. Let her say it all until you've kind of run out of steam, but don't let the other not scared one, don't let that one join in. Don't let the pendulum swing happen. Let that one express freely until she's done. And then when she's done, now she can go on hold and not join in, and then go to the other side, the I'm not scared side, and then listen to that side and let that side express everything that they need to say. And in doing this, you might have realizations, you might have memory that pops up. If memory comes, then that's probably connected to the core root of the fear that you suppressed, if you see what I mean. There might be more than one memory. Sometimes it's like a chain of memories that all feel like they've got the same kind of theme. So if you get a chain of memories, then go to the first one, so kind of chronologically the earliest memory, and then just spend some time with that inner child. So without trying to fix her or change her, without judging her, making her the bad guy, just sit with her and listen to her experience. Allow her to feel the emotion that she was in because she had good reason to feel it.
Mhm.
And then ask yourself, did she push any of those feelings away, and why did she do that? And I'm here to hear them. So hear the feelings that she didn't get to express, if you see what I mean. So you
Okay.
can work on the current day that you're in,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
also work with any memories that pop up as a result of doing that process. And things that you can do to kind of measure it as well, like if you, at the beginning, if you imagine those two parts of you that are obviously opposing, right? If you say to yourself before you do anything, say, okay, so can I see these parts of me in my mind's eye? So sometimes people just get a visual image for each one of those parts, and just
Okay.
ask yourself, are they aware of each other? Which seems
Mhm.
like a weird question, but you will get an understanding of whether they are, whether they aren't. So one of them might be aware of the other one, but the other one might not be aware of the other one, or
Okay.
they might be aware of each other. Just also ask yourself, do they think things about each other? Because sometimes there's anger there. Sometimes one of
Mm.
them's like, why are you like that? Why are you feeling like that?
Mhm.
So notice any strong emotion that they have against each other, and then don't try and fix it or change it. And then after you've gone to both sides and you've heard them both express, when you get to the end, then check in with them again, put them next to each other in your head, and then say, okay, like, are they aware of each other now? Because it's often the case that before parts work, the two opposing parts, they're not aware of each other, or there
Mhm.
is strong emotion about each other. And then
Right.
at the end of the session, often they've become more aligned, or there's like more understanding. It's kind of like you get the feeling like, oh, that makes sense now. Like if you actually ask your parts directly and say, what do you think about that part now?
Mhm.
And then really tune into that and get the response, and then ask the other one, what do you think about that part now? Because what
Mm.
you ultimately want is for them to let each other exist. So you want
Yeah.
them to let each other exist the way they are. It's okay to be scared. Sometimes the world is scary. It's just realistic sometimes to be scared. But you don't want to spend your entire life scared. So you can sort
No.
of have a bit of a back and forth, but ultimately they start to align. So the reason that you've had the trouble is because of the fragmentation. So if you see fragmentation as the opposite of integration, you want
Mm.
all parts of your consciousness to be integrated. So even like, sometimes people have like a demonic aspect to their consciousness. Like if you're a parent, sometimes people are like, I'm the evil mum today because my
Mhm.
teenager is against me or whatever. Like even if you feel like parts of you are evil or wrong or bad or whatever, if you
Mhm.
practice bringing those towards you rather than pushing them away, because then you're actually reversing shame. So if you think about any form of push away is kind of like a shaming, and if you shame another person, that's the same as shaming yourself. If you've
Yeah.
got a part of you that you can't accept, all you've got to do is just decide to learn to accept that part of you, and
Yeah.
then just practice sort of bringing that part of you towards you. Yeah, does that make sense?
It's perfect sense, Jen. Where does it actually come from? Could it be part of being a people pleaser? You're fragmenting then, or could it go much
Oh,
deeper than
definitely.
that?
Yeah, the people pleasing is a big one, because that's part of like a sort of codependent
Yeah.
narcissist kind of
Yeah.
like dynamic, which we're all stuck in to some degree.
Yeah.
And it's basically about power. And
Mm.
like Andy would talk about the Celestine prophecy, like the way everybody's stealing everyone else's power and energy. So yeah, like if you think about it, when we were all kids, we all got shut down to some degree because we had to fit in with our parents, and our
Yeah.
parents didn't really know how to parent because they weren't parented in a way that was conducive to health. So when we've shut these aspects of ourselves down, we've closed parts of us off in favor of other people's what they want for us. So it's kind of
Yes.
like we've been hijacked and we've been taken over to somebody, and that's why we end up feeling like we have to please other people. We don't. There's always some sort of win-win, and sometimes a win-win involves not being around the people at all that are hijacking you. But not always, you know. Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Bless your heart, lovely. Thank you so much. And now that the journey begins again. Oh, it's a forever journey, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that comes from parts work comes from a therapy called internal family systems, which is really good. So look into that.
Okay,
But yeah, I've done about 5 or 6 parts work sessions with people, and there's a playlist on my YouTube channel called Parts Work, I think.
okay, lovely. Thank you.
Not done it for a while, but yeah.
I shall have a look, and bless you.
Yeah.
Bless your
You're
beautiful
welcome.
heart. I shall let somebody else have a talk now.
Oh, thanks, Lee.
Thanks, lovely. Take care.
Would anyone else like to ask anything?
Yeah, I'm struggling with a long distance relationship.
Oh no, what you can do.
No, I'm not really. I'm totally fine with it. It's cool. I was just having a laugh.
Bless you. Would anyone else like to share a symptom or a conundrum or a trigger or a loop or a conflict?
I actually have a question about an opinion.
Yeah, go for it, Mike.
Yeah, if you look at it from an energetic point of view, what do you think is the correct, quote unquote, path to become, spiritually enlightened, in lack of a better word or term?
Oh gosh, that's a big question. Yeah. Well, from my perspective, I don't think you can go far wrong by doing some kind of self-healing work, because I think we could spend our lives sort of projecting onto other people, but at some point we have to just take responsibility for it all. So I think that the path to become spiritually enlightened is just the same path as kind of moving closer and closer to self-knowledge. Because I think that the whole universe is inside us. I don't know. I think, what does everyone else think? What do you think, Mike?
I'm on a little different opinion. I mean, I'll agree with you, all the normal things, kingdom is inside, whatever God, we're walking gods, whatever you want to talk about. But I think the path itself is extremely specific in order. And with order, I mean that certain events in your life has to happen before you can even start the journey. And whatever that event is, that could be anything. But from that point, when you start your journey, you're going to end up, do your inner work, shadow work, inner realization, self, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. When you start that journey, the only thing you can do to finish the journey is actually following your intuition and living as you speak.
Yeah.
Past that point. I'm not going to give any details of what can and will happen, because that's the only way for me personally I can verify if someone is lying to me or not.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking, because I have a very different opinion than a lot of people.
Yeah, I think a big one is because obviously we all have our kind of like big events that happen to us in our life that wake us up. And like for me, it was becoming a mum. That was the big thing for me, because my trauma had been about my own mum. So it was in becoming a mum that I suddenly woke up to what had happened to me. and then I needed to not be that mum. So that's been the journey for me. So yeah, we have all of these kind of points that I guess our soul must have chose for us. But I think that a massive part of that is the path of judgment and victimhood. You know, I think coming out of the "I'm right, you're wrong, I'm good, you're bad," you know, the blame shame game. Because I've been stuck
there's
in
no
that
good
for a
or
long
bad, right?
time. Yeah, I mean,
There's no good or bad.
yeah,
It's what
yeah.
we choose it to be. I mean, I defeated my ego like 4 years ago. I didn't kill it. I beat the living daylights out of it, and then I pulled it back up and put it next to me, just like I did with my evil, whatever you want to call it, inside of me. I beat the daylights out of it, and then put it next to me.
Mm.
And now we walk together. I'm just in control.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah.
sense?
Yeah, I
Because
think
if you go out, or not you, but any person goes out and proclaim that they're so good, they do good for everybody. When you do that, you're a hypocrite. In my book. Because if you have to brag about being good, are you really good? Or are you being hypocritical?
yeah, yeah.
I am extremely good in energy, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, I see in I call it the wokerati, you know, the sort of woke culture, which it's a bit controversial even talking about it really, but I think that a huge pattern that's unseen in humanity by the people holding it is that need to be seen as good. You know, if you need to be seen as good, you're not really in reality. You're basically still being controlled. You're being controlled by the people around you. You need to somehow belong with them by people pleasing, you know, kind of what Jane said. Like, but it's yeah. It's just a stage, I guess, like a thing that you move through. But I think that you're right that the ego, like we do go through a phase of pushing that away, needing to, but then bringing it back close.
Yes,
I think
the point was
ultimately
that a lot of the people that teaches and preaches spiritualism, they forget that part, that you don't kill your ego. Because if you kill your ego, there's no protection for you from the ego, because that's what it's there for. You just have
yeah,
to learn to know how to use it.
yeah, yeah. It's not a
I mean,
simple
I
thing,
use
is
my ego all the time. I use my
it?
ego all the time, even though I've gone through it. And I'll give you an example from yesterday. I have a very disturbed friend. He has insane amount of psychological issues, and again, that's just because of his past. And we went to a vape shop because he wanted to buy some kind of device there. And we went in, super nice Indian lady, no big deal. I was nice. I asked about where she came from, super nice. I was just being me, being nice. He got his questions answered. He purchased a $90 product. We jumped in the car. We drove back to his house 5 minutes away. We opened up the pack and it was missing parts and missing parts, and it had been used. Someone had put liquid into it, let's just say it that way. Anyways, we went back to the store, and of course, vape shops and stuff like that, you know, it's lesser beings that works at those places when it's up to intelligence. And I got there, and the lady tried to tell us that they have no returns. And I said, that's okay, but you sold us a defective product that was missing something and someone had used it. And she told me, or she told my friend that, well, you should have checked the product before you left. And that's when I changed, used my ego and my little evil side a little bit. And I asked the lady, I said, so you are telling me that you're untrustable? And she was like, no. I said, okay. So if you tell him that he should have checked the item you sold him as brand new before he left the store, right? Then you're untrustworthy. You're telling us that you can't be trusted and we should never come back here. And I just looked her straight in the eyes, like nothing, just dead in the eye. And I was extremely affirmative using my ego. And boom, we got a brand new product, and she changed her mind in less than 5 seconds. And that's how you're supposed to use your ego.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Because you see something unjust, and then you take care of it. That's the whole point I'm getting.
yeah, and I think
And then you're using your ego in a good way, and at the same time doing good things. And there's no charismatic response from any of those things. You can almost do whatever you want as long as the intention is pure or good.
yeah, I think we have to have our ego intact because we're on planet Earth, and we can't transcend that because we still have to function, like you say. We still have to defend ourselves, and we still have to meet our needs and communicate with other people, and people call us by our name. That's our ego, the identity that we have in the world, and we still need to do that. We still need to have that to some degree. Yeah. And I think it's about bringing divinity into humanity. It's not a straightforward journey whatsoever. No, it really isn't.
No. But that's why I was saying that what I've seen on a spiritual awakening place, it's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of traps. Like what we just talked about is a trap for the New Agers. The belief in New Age spiritualism. That's what it is. And there's a lot of them, and people don't see them.
Yeah.
Take a famous guy like David Berdies. He has 50, 60,000 followers here on Telegram, I think. And he's completely stuck in globe Earth. We all know that the Earth is not a globe and it's not flat. How can he not see it? Yeah, because he's stuck in a spiritual trap. And he's misleading thousands and thousands upon thousands of people.
Yeah. Isn't it? It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. There's a lot of people out there that I think are doing that as well in loads of different ways.
Tons.
But then I don't want to be standing in judgment because maybe they don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. Some of these people might know that they're misleading lots of people. Some of them might be misleading lots of people, but be unconscious to that as well. So yeah, it's a tricky
here's
one.
the problem from a spiritual and charismatic point. If he doesn't know and he keeps doing what he's doing, he'll be fine. But if he knows or learns that he's wrong and doesn't change because of his ego and he's scared of losing 20,000 followers because of it, that's where karma comes in. Because now he's deceiving all these people, and the karma coming back is going to be hard.
Yeah.
You see how this goes, and this goes all with what quote unquote the elite is telling us, right? They tell us what they're doing because they don't want the karma back from millions of people. That's why they do it.
Yeah, I only heard that recently that that's how they avoid karma, by informing.
Yeah.
I find that very hard to believe and hard to understand, because because they don't inform people in a way that people are really going to hear. They do it in a way that like a very small percentage of people will hear, and no one else does. So how can that be a thing?
They put it in the Truman Show, and they say this is a documentary, and the tiny little text describing the movie, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nobody pays attention.
Yeah.
Nobody reads. We've all been told that we know everything in the world, right? From the day we started school. By the time you're done school, you know everything you need to know. And then you're stuck in an echo chamber the rest of your life. Not a trap. We're not even supposed to have friends like we think we are. Like, let's say you and I, we talk now, we continue talking for next 2-3 months, maybe a year, maybe 5 years. But we're going to get to a point where we both are equal, where we don't need to learn anything from each other. Why do we need to stay friends, per se? We split off and we go earn new experiences, we upgrade, we do whatever. And then we meet up in a year or a month or 5 years or 10 years, and then we catch up. with what we've learned. That's how friendships are supposed to be. We're never supposed to be stagnant. The more stagnant we are in one place, the dumber we're going to be when we go to sleep in the end.
I agree.
Because
Like,
because I mean, have you changed careers in your life? Like from, let's say, from mechanical engineering style to something like working in a grocery store?
I've changed career
When I
every
say career
5
change,
minutes. Yeah, I've changed career. Like I've worked for the NHS. I've been a teacher. I run a business now. I've worked in offices. I've done all the jobs.
yeah. And that's
Yeah.
why you have really good discernment and perspectives, because you have that experience, right? All those experiences.
Mm.
While that loyal person that thinks they're supporting a company because they worked there for 10 years, a job they don't really like, but it's their habit, right? They never leave, they never move, they're stagnant.
Mm.
Personally, I'm not talking work-wise, because we all know work is nothing but humbug. You know, it's just a slave contract.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that the stagnation is often a symptom, a trauma symptom, and that can show itself in the body through a number of different things. Like actually, things like athlete's foot, that can be like your body crying out to inform you that you have stagnation going on as well.
Yeah.
Like anything to do with candida, that can be a stagnation thing. But like for people who
Candida is number
had a lot of
one
that
cause of
lack of
disease in
movement.
human body.
Sorry,
You should
I didn't.
literally drink alkaline drinks every day. So, like for me, I wake up in the morning, I have a glass of water with, or I have some Celtic salt first, but I drink a glass of water with organic apple cider vinegar, homemade,
Mm.
and maybe 4 or 5 tablespoons in a normal glass of water. And then throughout the day, I use key lime and water. And that's how I keep myself hydrated. And that's it. I eat 2 egg yolks in the morning for a week at a time. That's just for essential vitamins, pretty much. Fast 5 to 7 days a week. Sometimes I take a couple of weeks off just to enjoy and indulge myself in nasty foods. Because it doesn't do any damage if it's every now and then. It only does damage when it's all the time, right?
Mm. Yeah, that sounds quite healthy. The cider vinegar, because I think I don't understand why a doctor, because like when people have athlete's foot, things like that, like all you have to do is put vinegar, like get a spray bottle, half water, half white vinegar, and that sorts that out like within a couple of days if you spray that site like 2 or 3 times a day. It's so simple, and like all these creams and stuff that you can get from the chemist, it's like you use them forever and nothing ever seems to happen. Do you know what I mean? I find that really interesting. So does anybody else want to join in or ask about a symptom or anything energetic?
Ask
Okay.
another question. We can ask another. Can you hear us? Hello?
Sorry, I can't hear you. What did you say?
I said we could ask another question.
Okay.
Go on, Jane.
You've got the question. Ask it.
Jane was doing the body code through the book, and then she come to the point of pathogens, and then she seems to feel that she's got stuck there because it's like a physical thing and it's quite vague. And she says, "Oh, we should order some neem," and it seems like we've stopped at that point.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what do you mean that you got stuck there? So did you find it hard to understand, or?
I know. I guess I'm wondering, Jen, with the body code, because sorry, from what I've seen your work do, you're able to collapse many emotions or stuck things. And so I've been reading the book and then got to where it's saying about test from the 2 columns, and I've tested for pathogens and tested myself, and it says fungus. And I guess I sort of know that anyway, so I'm looking at changing the diet first. But then can I go into all the other areas of, I guess the answer is yes. I'm answering my own question. Yeah, so I don't believe I'm stuck out. Thank you. I'm unstuck now.
So did you wonder like how that related to you? So did you test positive for that, but you didn't know why, or you did know why?
I've got an idea why, and it's still obviously. I think as I read the information about the fungus, I think I went into slight shock, and I just have to release that. But I guess where am I? Yeah, and just because I've got a little fungus on my one toenail, and it's in AIDS family line as well, and so I'm just trying to heal that.
I think it's a really anyway, because my nephew had emailed and asked for help because he calls me the doctor of the family now. So he was asking, because they're completely asleep, but it was good how he's like the most awake one, and he started to ask me for advice. And he was asking about athlete's foot, funny enough. And I think it's now, is it I was saying, is it an environmental thing? Because we'll wear trainers and socks all the time, and then that environment creates that sort of symptom.
Yeah, that doesn't help. Yeah, like I would say, because I actually had athlete's foot for like a couple of years or something, and I thought, this is insane. Like, what is this teaching me? Do you know what I mean? Because I was like releasing information, I was looking at it in like a million different ways, and eventually I started to use vinegar, like half water, half. But what I realized, like the massive lesson, which I'm so happy to share with you, like it isn't just about releasing negative emotion. It's about because fungus is always about stagnation. So you have to have a really honest, holistic look at your life. So sometimes it's not about healing yourself of emotion. It's about taking an action that you haven't taken yet.
Yeah, there's plenty of that around us.
So for me, it was because I wasn't supporting myself enough. So as soon as I took actions to support myself in ways that I had resisted, it absolutely left me overnight. I was gobsmacked. And now when I work with clients that have something like candida, which is like a full body thing, but it's still fungus, it's like the same kind of thing. Like when I've guided them to not look at it in terms of I need to have therapy for this thing, or I even need to change my diet. Like changing diet and having therapy, like all of that is valid and valuable, and it does help. But fungus, I think the main thing is that you're not being yourself. You're not being yourself in the way that you could be. So that around you there are things that you could tweak, or things that you could change, or things that you could receive that you're not receiving, or something you could do for yourself that you're choosing not to do for some reason. Like as soon as you realize what that is, and then you move in the direction of yourself in that regard, that will disappear overnight. It's so weird when that happens. Yeah. So ask yourself, Jane, like the best question ever is, how am I pushing myself away? How many different ways am I doing that in my life? How am I pushing myself away? Or how am I choosing to not receive?
Yes.
Keep it general and then look at all the different aspects. Yeah. That's probably
I did actually have because I throw it up to spirit. I'm like, why can't I just get on with my exercising, do the self-care that I know I need to do, all of that? Or why aren't I expanding in the world where I want to, you know, or want to be with people and all of this. And I had it so clear of until you make those steps to self-care, self-exercise, take yourself into consideration, nothing else is going to move.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what you just said there, lovely.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely go in that direction, but also look at in the emotion code chart, row six, like those kind of conditions are always row 6. The shame, the unworthiness, the kind of emotions around lack and
unworthiness.
Overwhelm as well, like overwhelm is a big one. If you're overwhelmed,
absolutely.
So think about that. Have a look at those.
Thank
and
you.
often looking at those two things together, the emotions in row 6, but also the knowing that there are actions that you're not taking. So say to yourself, okay, given that my foot is telling me I'm not taking some sort of action that I need to take, and it's because of these emotions, where am I feeling these emotions in my life? Where am I preventing myself? But also, which foot is it? Is it the right or the left?
Yes, the right.
Yeah, so it's gonna be about your masculine, either your masculine energy or masculines around you or your father issues. But like for me, like when I had that athlete's foot that lasted literally forever, that was on my right side, and I knew eventually when I finally understood, I was like, oh, this is about my masculine energy. This is about not just my dad and men in my life, but it was about masculine energy is about direction and action, moving forward. So look at the definition of the divine masculine energy and take that into consideration as well when you're working on that. Yeah.
Bless your heart. Thank you, lovely.
Oh, thank you. And bless yours as well. And
I'm trying to find a new word actually. Not saying bless because it's be less, isn't it? And I know I know my intention, but I need a new word. You're amazing, girl.
Oh, yeah, be less. I'd never seen that.
I know. It's just a recent thing, and I bless people so often, and then I'm like, be less. No, be more.
Yeah, and that also doesn't that derive from the bubonic plague? When everyone was like, you know, that ring a roses, you know, the nursery a tissue. That's all based on the plague, isn't it? Like when everyone was dropping dead.
Wow.
Not the best vibe.
No. Oh, thank you, lovely.
Oh, you're welcome.
And lesson as well.
Oh yes.
I realised the other day when you have a lesson.
Yeah.
They give you you go to school to lesson.
Yeah, being lessoned. Yeah, because I've got onto that recently because when I've been using the body code, I've been saying thank you for the lessons to the energy, right? But now I say thank you for the learnings.
I say thank you for the wisdom. I like that.
Yeah, it's so important, the language thing, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Thank you, lovely.
Yeah, the etymology, Jen, of bless and blessing is from blood sacrifice rituals. If you check it out on etymologyonline.com or whatever it is, that, you know, the etymology website. Yeah. But all you got to do is change one letter, E to I, and it's blessings.
Blessings.
Or
Love it.
you could take what I did and go for the be less's moorings.
Yeah. Or you could change black to bliss, James.
You can combine two then, less is more. and blessings. So being less is more things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, change blessing people to blissing people.
Mm. Bless you.
They already think we're all mad.
We don't care.
Bless you.
I love a
Yeah.
bit
They'll
of
just
the
see your
beautiful then.
stream certificate.
Did I just hear you, Carly? Was that you?
It was me. I said I love a bit of blissing and a bit of beautifying. It just works wonders. You
Yeah.
ladies couldn't, and the fella that jumped in, everything couldn't have been more relevant. I'm just like, yes.
Oh.
So like, it's like, yes, tap, 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 Jen on the heart and to all.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm so happy, Carly. That's brilliant. And like talking about feet, right? Because I don't get symptoms really, hardly ever, because I do so much energy work. But I did get a symptom recently. I was like, oh my God. And I started to get a verruca on the bottom of my foot. And I was like, right, what is this? My body is speaking. So I had looked it up online, and I saw that it was on the right side. So I knew that it was something to do with action and all of that. And it was kind of connected to value, like your own self-value and like worth. So yeah, I looked it up and I did some emotion code on myself, and then literally the next day it was gone.
Like magic. I love
That
it.
was ridiculous. You know how long they hang around? Like I've had verrucas before years ago, and you get the patch thing that you put on it, and then you have to keep doing that every day, and it hangs around for like months on end. And I'm like, oh, it just went overnight. So I felt it start. It felt kind of painful to walk on. I released the emotion, and it literally went up in a puff of smoke. I was so impressed. I was like, yes,
It's
that's
like the
the
red
way.
bit. Yes, gone. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to be listening back. Thank you, guys. Because there's some tweaky bits I would like to have a.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I'm glad. And also, there's something that I want to clear up as well for people. It's sort of like a misconception that sometimes people think that if they have a symptom that's come from like an external circumstance, like an injury, that doesn't count. That there's kind of style of working metaphorically with the body and listening to the body's messages, that doesn't count if it's an injury. Oh, it does. It does. It's just a different way. Not everybody sees it that way. Like if the law of attraction brings you an injury to your leg, for example, then that's still your leg speaking to you. That's still gonna be something to do with you moving forward or not moving forward, if you see what I mean. So people often think if it's not an organic symptom, like an expression of the body, but it's something that's happened to you, it still applies. But yeah, obviously it's sometimes a different way of looking at it.
And accidents as well.
Yeah, because you do get people who've just had like 20 car accidents and things like that, and it's kind of unbelievable. Like, how does that person keep manifesting that same thing? You know, it seems bonkers, and it's not always them driving, so you can't put it down to they're just terrible at driving. It's just something that they needed to heal, like a specific thing happened to them where there was a car accident and they haven't got to it yet, or they're still working on that. Yeah, weird. Okay, anybody else before we finish?
Jen, have you got anything with dry ears? Like ears, the skin outside of the ear at the back, like dry skin. It was there, and I thought, what is this? And then I thought, this ain't mine.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, ears generally, very, very kind of like obviously, it's representing the capacity to hear. Let's see. I'm just looking at Louise Hay's list. Earache. Blah. something about not wanting to hear. Yeah, so I'm wondering about dryness. So anything to do with skin is a boundary issue. So if you think about what a boundary is, because people often don't really understand boundaries. A boundary is what makes you you. So it's about your desires, your needs, your wants. What's important to you might not be important to someone else. So think about what your boundaries are, but think about those in the context of hearing and listening. So you might have a specific boundary around you need to be heard or you need to be listened to in a certain circumstance or whatever. So the dryness of the skin there has been enough to draw your attention to, okay, so maybe is there something that I need to listen to or something that I need to hear from someone else or for myself, if you see what I mean.
And if you was to say two people had the same thing of this ear business,
Hmm.
when I encountered it, I wasn't aware of this other person having this ear thing. Yet I thought, I actually thought, that's not mine. And then time progressed a little bit, and the other person had this ear thing. And I thought, again, mine had gone by that point. I had like done some sort of work that you was talking about, bits and pieces of it, and used something. I hadn't gone to the doctors. I'd just sort of done it that way. But then when you're talking about fungus, that kind of loops back in, and breath and lungs, because that's their issue. I can't believe how fucking spot on. I can absolutely believe, and I know. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Jen, as always.
It's funny that it was manifesting in another person at the same time, because because that suggests to me that that's something that you really need to see. You're experiencing something, and then someone else is experiencing that. Do you think that the issue itself is with that person?
Absolutely, and then it comes back to the boundaries bit that you just covered out. It's almost like it couldn't have been stitched together, which coincides with Simone's show about fungus, and it's just I'm sitting here grinning. Wow.
That's funny, because I hadn't heard Simone's show was about that, but Litmus said he noticed when everybody's like synchronistically covering the similar stuff. It's brilliant, that, isn't it?
It's just interwoven and wonderful. It's like like my heart is like and that again I'll need to listen again, just so much so. Thank you.
You're welcome, Carly. I'm just wondering if there's anything else that I wanted to share. No, I think that's pretty much it. But I think I might do this more often, because people really do seem to get quite a lot out of it, and it's I just love that all of this information is available, and it just makes so much sense to me, because this is the way that I've been thinking for quite a long time. So it isn't hard for me to see this stuff, and I do get intuitive hits sometimes about things as well that people share. But something that I'm going to put on the channel is like a while back when I was having a lot of conflict with somebody, I put together a hit list, like a sort of awake way of looking at a conflict. And there's a lot of conflict around at the moment, so I'm going to reshare that to the channel. And it's kind of like a few points if you're in a conflict, kind of like a lock thing where you can't get out of it. Like you both think you're right, and you've come to this stalemate thing. This sometimes can get you to look again at what you've not seen yet. So I'll share that in a minute as well. But otherwise, I think I'll stop there unless anybody else has anything to say or share.
Other than to say thank you, Jen, for another amazing show, and look forward to them coming again with this new format.
Oh, thanks, Andy. Bless you, and thank you for this platform as always.